We should be live on TikTok. Let me pop out the channel over here. Let me go on. So I got the. I can see the chat over here. Let me pull this up. Oh damn. It's all right. All right. So make sure we're live on YouTube, and then we'll get it cracking. Turn my stuff all the way down. All right. Dope. All right. Cool. We are live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. And all right, so this is my friend Oba the Great, the King of Nothing, of course.
I'm cutting in and out. Okay.
All right, tell them about yourself, how you got into crypto.
My name is Oba, OBA. They call me the King of Nothing. The reason why I got that name is the city that I come from. I come from Niagara Falls, New York, and it's one of the most impoverished cities in the United States. So, being where I was from, we had nothing to look forward to. Nobody ever wins there. So, I ended up coming up from crypto and doing various other things. I was doing music and stuff, had a little deal. So, the King of Nothing, the king of a land where nothing happens. So that's where the King of Nothing comes from. So I ended up getting into crypto, and that changed my life. That changed my life for real, for real. Like, um, I don't know how the viewers are, how acclimated they are to, as they would say, the streets. But I was in the streets and living that life or whatever. So I decided, okay, what I'm gonna do with this quote unquote street money? What I'm gonna do? So one day when my friends called, they called from prison and they said, "Hey, yo, remember the guy Stu we was locked up with? It was a guy named Stu we was locked up with. And Stu, he embezzled $10 million.
Oh,
And he embezzled $10 million. So we said, "Yo, Stu, what would you do? What
allegedly.
what you when you get no, he did it because he's in jail for it. So he
Oh,
was in
okay.
jail with us with it. So he did it. So it's not allegedly. So we like Stu, like, you know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do when you get home? He said, "Oh, I'm gonna be very, very rich when I get home." We said, "Okay, how? Like, you kept some of the money." He said, "I have it in a safe place." We said, "Where do you have it at?" He said, it's in my hardware wallet." We don't know what it is. We don't know what he's talking about, anything like that. He said, "You ever heard of Bitcoin?" Absolutely not. We don't know what it is. We don't know what any of it is. So Stu said he put a lot of that money in Bitcoin, and that was in 2011, 12, or something like that. So if you
Damn.
have $10 million, do the numbers if you know the prices around then. So Stu probably been home for about a good 3-4 years now. So Stu probably somewhere on an island that he bought by himself with all his Bitcoin money. But that's how we first got introduced to Bitcoin. So when I finally went home and they called me, they said, "Hey, you ever check out the Bitcoin stuff, whatever?" I'm just whatever, just yeah, whatever. Who cares? Just like everybody else does. Who cares? So finally I get a call getting yelled at. Listen, get into Bitcoin. That Bitcoin stuff we talking about, get into it. Matter of fact, look at the video. It was a documentary, I think, the rise and fall of Bitcoin, or rise and fall. It was rise and fall of something, and it was talking about how fiat was dying. So I just started getting this. So every day, just waking up, watching men.
You cut out. There you go. We're good.
You hear me?
Yeah, yeah. What year was this, by the way?
This was during the pandemic. This was during the pandemic. So this had to been like 1920, probably 1920. So Shiba came around, and we were so early to Shiba that the people that invented Shiba gave us free Shiba just for believing in a project. and gave us their original wolf papers from Shiba. Like the original white papers that they made, I have the original wolf papers that they gave me, and they gave us free Shiba. And at that point in time, you could buy billions of Shiba for like $10. So I just put in like $100, $150, and then I'll say probably like a good 2-3 months from there, turning six figures. And ever since then, I was sold on crypto. I said, well, I said, if this is what it's doing, well, and then kept getting into crypto, studying XRPs, XLMs, and DeFi, and into banking and finance. So now every day I wake up, I look at any type of news that has to do with finance and business, and now I'm here teaching it actually.
Right. So you feel like you're still are you still a believer in Shiba, or have you graduated, or is it both?
I graduated from that. I
Yeah.
graduated from that. Basically, Shiba. I got the initial run out of it and everything. Whatever. Shiba is going to be. It's gonna have its time where it's going to make people some money,
Right.
because they're going to be heavily into the metaverse. Because I was in the original the Wolf Papers. It was originally an original Wolf Papers where they're going to be into the metaverse. Very. They're going to be a big player in the metaverse. So it's still
Okay.
some faith for you guys that want to get into it.
But just not for you.
Nah, I kept some.
Right.
Just in case, yeah, I kept some for sure. But it's not nothing where, how people right now, they feel like they're gonna put $10 in and become a millionaires. Nah, those
Nah.
days are it's over.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
over.
it's basically, what is it, like a top 20 coin? So
Yeah,
it's like a
but
top 10 coin almost, really.
yeah, but basically, we're still in the beginning of crypto, because it's not even $1 trillion market, and we saw the stock market lose $11 trillion last year.
Right. So
So
what is your top, give the people Oba the Great his top 5 cryptocurrencies.
obviously XRP,
Right.
Bitcoin for sure. Bitcoin for sure. The store of value, Bitcoin is never going to go away. Once they introduce CBDCs and stuff like that, Bitcoin is going to be very heavy. Strike and Lightning networks and all that. That's going to be a big player. XLM,
Okay.
um, VeChain,
Okay.
um, and one that's going to surprise everybody. It's one of my secret gems I'm sharing with everybody. Proppy.
Okay, let me write it down.
Proppy.
What is Proppy?
Okay, Proppy. They're going to handle real estate,
Oh, you told me
deeds,
about
every
this.
yes, real estate
Yes.
and deeds. So all the every real it's gonna be just as easy as ordering something off of Amazon. It's
You're
big, and they have, and everybody know how big Ripple is, and that's gonna be it's gonna be a monster, and it's
I think you're
very
having
low.
shoot. I think you're having Wi-Fi issues or something.
It's clicking in and out.
Yeah. Um should be good. Um yeah, so we were talking about Proppy when we first got to talking. We were talking about the metaverse, or not the metaverse, I'm sorry, NFTs, and I think you asked me if I was into NFTs, and I told you my stance on NFTs, and that I thought that the technology of the NFTs are going to change the world forever. And it was my
Yeah,
goal this bear market to really hone in on my chart, my TA ability, and on understanding the technology that is that of NFTs. And I still think that we're very early, but that's when I told you I see the next 5 years. What NFTs really are is not a picture of a monkey or whatever. It's ownership, and it's the blockchain verifying ownership via
yep,
the deed to your house, the title to your car, and then that's when you told me about Proppy. I remember now because that's what they're
yeah.
gonna.
They're talking about something. I saw Vitalik Buterin. If people don't know who that is the person who came up with Ethereum. Vitalik Buterin was talking about called something called soul tie NFTs, which is your social security card and birth certificates.
Jesus.
What these are, you can't change them, you can't send them anywhere, anything. Like you're this NFT stuff is getting real matrixy, real. It's getting
Yeah,
it's
there's
going
getting
it's
like
going to happen.
with or without you.
Yeah, it's it's already in play. It's already in play.
Oh, that's
But
crazy.
basically, like I did a video on NFTs and music, how it's going to change music per se. Okay, so we know NFTs you can't duplicate more, so you only can have limited copies, right? So imagine you want to hear an album like a crazy collab album. You want to hear, uh, Watch the Throne 2, Jay Z and Kanye. They're coming out with Watch the Throne 2. Okay, the world wants to hear that, but let's say they only come out with 1,000 copies as NFTs and sell them for 1,000 each or something like that. You know the price, how much money they will make from selling that album as an NFT. You can't get it anywhere else. You can't screen record it. You can't do anything else with it but keep it. And if you want to trade it to your friends, it's obviously going to be a gas fee. And then when you have the gas fee, they're still going to get paid the royalty off of that, regardless. Anytime it's exchanged.
Mm,
So we're talking about albums. We're talking about people that is in content creation and people that's making music or making videos or movies or anything like that. They're getting full control of their content again. It's just like, okay, let's do Avatar 3. And Avatar 3 is going to come out as NFT. We're only going to do 100,000 copies of Avatar 3 that you only can watch in your wallet, stream on your TV. And that's it. They'll make more money faster. Matter of fact, Snoop Dogg. A lot of people don't know Snoop Dogg is heavy into it. He's like one of NFT kings, actually.
right, because he did that
What
whole
he did,
metaverse concert with Eminem, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
he made even before that. Eminem got onto it later. Before that, he took a lot of songs from Death Row that people never heard. People want to hear Tupac stuff, Outlaws, and stuff they never heard, and put it into something like a chest. So when you download it, it will have all the music and videos as a package. He made 44 million in 24 hours.
Jesus.
They would
And
never see that type of money.
that's
Go ahead.
that's how I view, like, as an artist. I'm not like the same type of artist. I just view myself as a content creator, as an artist. But I really view, like NFTs. Like, imagine owning a piece of Mickey Mouse, the show. You own episode 3, or you know
Yeah,
what I mean. You know what I mean? That's how I view. And I also see a huge wave of artists. I think Russ was one of the first ones where he's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sign with these record label deals. And there's been a huge wave of artists behind him that haven't been signing. And I think it's a good thing, because in reality, your music is like it's like a rental property. You know what I mean? You
yep.
own that asset, and that asset could perform for you forever. And so that's a beautiful thing that the blockchain brings, I think. Go ahead.
Facts. Like the way the music industry is preparing for this, as you're seeing all these masters being bought. So you're seeing all these people selling their masters and selling their library of music, and they're selling them for, like, Justin Bieber sold his for like 200 million or something like that. They're gonna make billions off of selling his catalog. Like they're
Right.
gonna wipe everything off of all the internet streaming platforms and everything. You're not gonna be able to hear no Justin Bieber music unless you want to hear an NFT. You know how much money they're gonna make? Where they say, okay, his biggest hit, "Baby," we're only gonna sell 100,000 copies of this for $1, and that's gonna go in 7 seconds, 10 seconds, 7 seconds, or something like that, and it's
Right.
gonna keep going up. They're gonna make the money that they bought for these people catalogs. They're gonna make back tenfold, 30-fold, 100. They're gonna 100x these people's catalog instantly, almost.
So what is a master? When you say why people are buying all the masters or selling them?
Masters is the original copy of their music. It's their ownership of their music. They're buying
Mm,
their publishing. They're buying their
the
catalog.
publishing rights. Okay.
Yes, they're buying everything. Yes, so it's they don't own it anymore. So they're looking at it as, oh well, we over time in streaming, they're like, well, we're probably not going to make 200 million off of this over time. So that's why these people are cashing out, not
Man,
understanding that NFTs and Web3 is here. These record labels know is here
right. They know
because
what.
there's apps already, Audius, and it's like another app that also streams music already on a blockchain and stuff. They're already here, so
So I
it's
view it.
only a matter of time.
This is what I always tell people too. I view it very similar to real estate. Like honestly, very similar to real estate in that my philosophy on real estate is they don't make any more land. You know
Yep.
what I mean? That is truly generational, like truly generational wealth. And I hear people around me talking about like, oh, we have this equity in our house, like we need to hurry up and sell. And I'm like, and go where? You know what I mean? Like you're
Go
gonna have
there.
to sell this house and then go buy one for the same price. But in reality, what you should be doing is just saving up. In my opinion, obviously not financial advice, but saving up, put a down payment on another house, turn this one into an Airbnb or a rental property, have it cash flow for you because they don't make any more land. Like the surface area of Earth is what we have, and that's it. There's no more land that's being printed. But last year they printed $7 trillion. I don't know how many acres they printed last year, but I can assure you it wasn't that much. And that's how I view
Fact.
music too. It's like, why are you selling what you own? You own this.
Because they don't understand. It's just what make people poor and what make people rich. It's just knowledge. That's it. What do you know and what do you know and what do they know and what you don't know that they know. That's the difference between rich and poor is information. So they have the information of what's coming next and what's about to happen, and these people don't. They don't understand until we see Drake come out with an NFT album like Tory Lanez, who's locked up right now. He is the first and only major artist to come out with an album as an NFT. He sold it for $1. He sold 1 million copies for $1. He made $1 million in 30 seconds. And then 2 hours later, the copies were going for $35 to $55,000 each.
Jeez. That's the insane part too. I read somewhere people don't understand like how it's literally like Ripple and liquidity. Why it makes it so valuable is because the speed of the transactions is what makes it valuable. Because ACH transactions actually take about 5 days to clear, where Ripple 3 seconds, or XRP rather. But that's how I view. I read somewhere to tie it back to what you were saying that I can't remember the artist's name, but there was an artist and he did a full 100% VR metaverse concert. And there was so many people there because you're in the concert from your living room. And he made, I think it was over $100 million or something like that. Something
Just
crazy.
because what people don't understand about this internet thing is it's like people know, but they don't understand that the internet really connects the world. It's like how me and you are across the country right now, and right now we're having a podcast. And what
Right.
people don't understand is that it's not 300 million people in the United States anymore. This is 7.8 billion people that you have access to now.
Right.
Now, concert is not limited to 60,000 people in the stands. Now it can be hundreds of millions of people that want to watch it at one time, paying $10 or $5 or $1.
And there,
It-
and also it eliminates, honestly, like the thing that's really frustrating for me as someone who is a fan of art is like this Ticketmaster monopoly. Like that's what the blockchain really breaks up. Is it breaks up a lot of monopoly because this is free market, capitalism at like at the purest form of like letting the market dictate. Because people think in America we have capitalism, but we really don't. We really have more like fascism, where the companies leverage the government and they change, they corner and they get their own monopolies. But like truly, in my opinion, like what the blockchain does is allows the market to dictate, and that's a beautiful thing because you get the best possible product at the best possible price.
Yeah. And if somebody has a lower, hey, it's it's a really a free market enterprise around the world, and you have access to everyone around the world. It's we're gonna see within the next 5 years, we're gonna see the first trillionaires. Being a millionaire is gonna be so average. It's gonna be average. That's all gonna be the average pay because now into is if we're streaming in our local neighborhood or our local city, like that means nothing. But now because we have Web3, we have the internet. Now I could be hot somewhere in Russia or be hot somewhere in Japan, and that could just be my fan base. Nobody in the United States listens to me at all. But I know somewhere in France, I have 100,000 fans over here that's going to listen. They're going to buy my merch. They're going to buy my albums and NFTs and stuff like that. And that's what's going to happen is we're going to see a lot of niche things make people millionaires very easily, almost overnight. If you have a talent, we're coming back to the times of if you have a talent or a skill, it's going to be appreciated again. And that's how the old world was, even before the internet, before all of this was if you had a skill, you were rewarded by having a skill or having a talent. And
Mm,
as we saw, we're in the era of people are getting famous for nothing. So now we have it as okay, people are going to like what they like. And that
right.
can happen all over the world now because of the internet. So it's going to like
Yeah, I don't think
people,
there's this whole like starving artist thing like that is done. I
it's
think
over. It's
one,
over.
yeah, literally, I think one of the most valuable uh skills that people can have is being an artist because especially with AI and all this stuff, uh what the artist is going to be able to do is instead of like being afraid of, oh, this is coming after my job, no, the true artist is going to recognize that this is a tool that can help me make my art even better, even faster, even more.
Real,
Uh,
yeah, and real artists are going to become the commodity. Real
right.
artists are going to become the commodity, and it's going to be man.
Everything.
It's going to be great. It's actually
Right.
going to be great. It's going to be obviously it's going to be bad. Bad always comes with good, obviously, but it's going to be great for the people that know how to utilize this. It's going to be bad for you would say the older people because they're going to be out of touch and they don't want to get in touch with the technology. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be susceptible to CBDCs and the other bad nuances of blockchain technology. You gotta have the rain when you have the sunshine. You got to, and that's
Right.
what's coming with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when they talk about the greatest transformation of wealth in history, this is it. This is it, in my opinion. We're rolling into it. And in my opinion, truly, there's going to be the haves and there's going to be the have nots. You're going to get on the ship or you're not. And that's pretty much that.
Yeah, yeah, we're the boomers.
Yeah.
That's why we're our age group is now. We're the boomers now.
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
just got
So go
we just
ahead.
got to learn from we just got to learn from them of how to
Right.
distribute wealth.
Right. So, yeah, it was, man, it's gonna be a wild ride, and definitely for a while it's gonna be the wild wild west. Like you said, you can't have the good without the bad, the true duality of things. But inevitably, it's gonna work itself out, and it's gonna wave back and forth until it finds a good balance. And I'm excited to see. I think a lot of jobs are going to be lost, but a lot of jobs are going to be created as well. There's no more typewriter repairman anymore, and the same thing. Like, there's not going to be any of these admin jobs. I think a lot of that's going to go out the wayside because the blockchain is going to verify all that stuff immediately at real time for cheaper than minimum wage. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't hear you had pause. You said what? What was the question?
I said, what are your thoughts on that?
On what? I didn't hear it. The last 30 seconds, I didn't hear anything. It was frozen.
Oh, geez. Well, I was just saying that um, there's going to be a lot of jobs that are going to be lost, in my opinion. Just like the last age of the revolution of the technology revolution. There was a lot of jobs that
Yeah,
were lost, but there was a lot of jobs that were added as well. It's the same thing. This generation is going to have. We're not going to have the typewriter repairman, but there's going to be new jobs that are going to be created on top of that. And so I'm excited.
absolutely. So basically, with that is it's happening right now as we see, and we're even seeing people in tech jobs. They're losing jobs at a high rate because automation is going to replace them. Because this is what blockchain. For people who don't understand what blockchain technology is, it's the automation people have been fearing that's going to take their jobs. So what you're investing in is that automation. So when they say machines 314 took over this job at this plant, the program that runs machine 3.14 is the name of the token. It could be XLM, it could be Polygon or Tron, wherever it is. That's just the name of the automation that is taken over. So, what cryptocurrency is, it is the chance to invest in that automation. Either you're going to be in tune with it or not. That's why it's taking out the stock market because the stock market are the companies. So the automation are going to be replacing the companies. So that's where the transition is, and a lot of people don't understand exactly. I think that's where a lot of people don't understand what cryptocurrency actually is. It's just you're getting a piece of the automation that is replacing human jobs.
You're buying into
So
the software.
you're buying into that's it. You're buying into the software that's replacing the jobs. And the more that software, the more work that software does, that controls the price. That's how much more it's worth. So when you're buying the token is just nothing but information and how much space it needs to move that information between those machines. So when you're buying a piece of that information, which is that token, that means the information is becoming more and more scarce. So it's worth more. So that's how you get the price point. But basically, this is where cybersecurity jobs are going to come in. Cybersecurity jobs are going to be the new um as you would say, like technical assistant. Like it's gonna you're basically cybersecurity is gonna be what's gonna be protecting these systems because people are gonna try to hack these all day, every single day. So that's why
Jesus.
cybersecurity is one of the most underserved jobs, and that's what I went to school for, to be a cybersecurity analyst. And they're saying that they need 4 million people, and it's only going to keep growing the more automation that we get. And they had us learning blockchain technology and how that worked, how we can protect it and everything like that. So the days of being a woodworker, working at Walmart or any general labor jobs or anything, it's over. You're gonna have to use your computer. That's what it's all about. That's it. You're gonna have to use this.
You're done. Oh man. I and the thing too
Now.
interesting about like the cybersecurity as well is like Jesus, that's going to be not only an in-demand job but a demanding job because it's going to be forever evolving and changing, just like the computers are evolving and changing. Like once you think you got it, there's going to be 17 new hacks that are you're going to have to figure that
in
out too.
in hours.
Yeah, like
In
right now,
hours.
yesterday.
If
That yeah. You're
rogue AI and people that are creating AIs that can do a million different type of hacks in
so
2 seconds.
at what point do you think that the AI itself actually just full on
It
it's
probably,
human
I think
some
admitting it that like probably like 5 years ago, to be honest, because who knows what we see on social media or anything is even real where they got deep fakes and AI. It been did that, so we don't necessarily know. The only perception of reality we're gonna have that we have at this point now is whatever you see in front of your own eyes when you go outside. So we don't know most of the stuff of what we're even looking at is even real, or we even looking at any of these type of real events or anything like that. And when I got into cybersecurity, the first thing we had to study was AI and how a few are actually rogue already, and Google actually created a sentient AI. For people who don't know what sentient mean, that means it has feelings and it
It's
has its own
aware of
thought.
itself.
It's aware of itself. And some guy exposed it, and we don't know where he's at anymore.
Right.
But he exposed Google already
He,
created a sentient AI. So
he's no
it's
longer with us.
yeah. And you know how they do it. He'll never exist. Get rid of the birth certificate, everything. Like
This is the crazy
so.
thing too. I was talking about this with one of my friends. It's like, really, in reality, influencers truly influence a lot of things, just like the name entails. So it's like with the wave of I already know that influencers are going to rely on the technology of AI to get ideas, to perfect their ideas. And so at what point is I view like influencers generally, they're kind of programming society. And so
Mm,
if the influencers are being programmed by artificial intelligence, hold on one second. Take over. I gotta reset my camera.
all right. So basically, what he's saying is, at some point, where the influencers are going to be influenced by the AI, and that's already happening. According to me, that's already happening when the AI is already telling them what to watch, how to watch. If you ever noticed when you get on something as simple as your TikTok or get on any of these real feeds and stuff like that, you notice when you like a video a little bit much, they start feeding it to you over and over and over and over and over, and eventually you're influenced to like that. So if you're looking at skateboard videos, all of a sudden you're gonna feel like you want to be a skateboarder because that's all you're seeing all day is skateboarding. Next, you know, you're starting to dress, talk, view, everything like that. Or so is the algorithm, the AI is already taken over at this point. Being an influence,
But at what
you kind
point
of just
is
there.
it at what point is it not the co-pilot and it's like it's the pilot running the ship and
Oh,
it
right now
you think so? Like already
already.
it's
Yeah, the next elections, 100% going to be AI running all of that. They can tell us who
oh
to like.
geez. Yeah. I mean, they were already like been using social media for a while. So that's a good point. Actually, that's a really good point.
We already reached a
I think we
point.
need to get like some sort of decentralized social media, like have like have a governance and also have a community vote. But you have to, I don't know, maybe you would do like the the Vitalik sort of what'd you call it? The blockchain social security or whatever. You got to verify that
Yeah,
you're a real human, and then
uh,
you can vote on the social media. That would be interesting.
I think it's like the Damis or whatever. Uh, what's the guy? They just
Man, um, I think your Wi-Fi keeps cutting.
it's supposed to be decentralized, like a decentralized Twitter or something like that. And I don't know how to use it. I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, I'm officially old now because all I'm seeing is all I'm seeing is wallet information. That's all it shows is like wallet information for people ID. It's, it's insane. So they already have social media already, and there's one called So Me Social. That's almost like a Facebook, and I invested in that very early, and it's like a decentralized Facebook called So Me Social. So it's already here, and you get paid based on your interactions when you post content.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
it's
like I view a lot of stuff like I don't know. There's a lot of this oh, just because it's always been, this is how it's always going to be. But in reality, every single decade or every single wave of new revolution of technology, there's these giants that fall as far as in business that you think that you would have thought would have been here forever, but they didn't adapt, they didn't overcome, and now they're like the Toys R Us. Like, who's going to be the Toys R Us of tech?
oh man, Facebook.
Yeah,
Facebook, the whole meta thing is over. I think it's over for them. They're trying hard to get into the metaverse, but people are they don't have this all this cryptocurrency stuff and blockchain stuff is built on trust. And one thing the whole meta thing doesn't have is trust.
trust.
People do not trust them. Twitter's going to survive. TikTok may survive. It depends on how much they push for the content creators. TikTok may survive. It's going to be definitely some new players, but I think Meta is gonna go down. Microsoft just saved themselves by adding Chat GBT yesterday, whatever. They just saved themselves because I think they were going to be another thing that was going to go because people don't really care about putting Windows on anything anymore. So
Windows is garbage. Like I wish I knew like more about Linux, to be honest with you. Like have seriously thought about just doing Linux on my computer, on my like my main gaming PC. But I it's like a whole different language, but I see what it's capable of. And if I wasn't afraid of just like completely losing everything, I would have already been done it.
it's over, man. It's over for Microsoft. They don't. They
Yeah.
really just saved themselves. So it's the chip companies are gonna be the big players, Nvidia and stuff like that. Nvidia, Samsung, and stuff like that. Is a lot of this that we're seeing in tech because we are very
And I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, what we were talking about the artists.
already kind of at least a good 10, 15 years ahead of us. We have a very, very poor infrastructure compared to the rest of the world. So
Yeah, I think it's going to be sort of what we were talking about earlier with artists. Like the biggest commodity in the world are going to be artists, and so wherever the artists are going to go, that's where the energy is going to flow, in my
yeah,
opinion. So if TikTok starts paying the creators to where they can, sustain themselves, I think they'll survive. And if they don't, then I think they'll die, just like Vine. Vine was it back in the day, but
yeah,
they couldn't monetize it.
I think rare the was it Rarible, OpenSea, and all of those are going to be the big players. The content market
Right. So
die.
I saw a list of um and it shows you like this is the company and then this is the blockchain equivalent. And I know like for Dropbox they had like Filecoin and I forget what the one was for Spotify. Do you know?
I think that might have been like Audius or something like that.
Audius,
Audius,
that's right.
if it wasn't Audius, it was it was Audius, and they had something for YouTube. I forgot what YouTube was. YouTube had the
Man,
equivalent too.
man, that'd be
That'd be
cool.
crazy to see YouTube
Yeah,
fall.
because yeah, because that's Google.
Yeah,
That's literally Google, you know?
it's getting tight for them now because what just happened with the whole Chat GBT and Bing thing. So now it just got tight for them. Now they have real life competition because
And the
I just
and the
thought,
money's expensive too. And they just laid off like 20,000 people.
man, we are going to see this year is going to be crazy. This year is going to be crazy. I
So
think
what do you go ahead?
I think as far as like the streaming sites that are going to survive, Apple's going to be there because they're a technology company, so they're going to survive. T marketplace. They're gonna when you're gonna go buy your artist music and stuff like that, you're gonna buy it on title as NFTs. So they're gonna become a marketplace for sure. If Jack Dorsey being on the board of title, if I'm pretty sure he already probably thought about that idea already a year ago. So Tidal, I think, is going to become a big player when it comes to music and artists and music videos and stuff like that. They're going to become an NFT marketplace. They have to. Spotify too. They had Spotify. All the major streaming platforms have to become NFT platforms, or they will not survive the next 10 years whatsoever. It'll be over.
So what's your view on the market of 2023, 2024 and beyond? What do you think where do you think we're at in the stage?
um, Swift announced in March they're activating the ISO 2022. They're activating it. They have it on their site big. So they're activating the ISO tokens in March.
The
So
real quick, the crazy thing to me is like I tell people this about the ISO coins, and it's like I relate the .com bubble to the cryptocurrency bubble, and I always say they're similar
Mhm.
because 97% of it's nonsense, but there is 3% that's the Amazons, the Googles, the PayPal's that are going to rise from the ashes. They're going to be the winners. They're going to create generational wealth, and they're going to rule the world. And I always say, like, I don't need to guess who the winners are because they're telling me who the winners are right on the World Economic Forum. Like, I don't need to guess who the winners are because they're telling me who the winners are. And it's crazy. Like, I tell
Yeah.
people this, and they're like, who's the World Economic Forum? I'm like,
You'd be like,
bro,
what? Yeah. So
wake up,
explain it.
Neo.
Yeah, explaining that already makes you're gonna lose them already. Just explaining the World Economic Forum, you're gonna lose them already. Just even explaining that. So it's just like, damn, you lost them before you can even get to.
Yeah, I kind of view it like I just view it like I'm just
When
gonna
it's
keep I'm gonna
8 billion.
I'm gonna create as much a good content as I can, and my message is for who it's for. And it's not my job to decide who it's for, but I'm gonna put out the truth, and I'm gonna teach, and I'm gonna help people grow, and I'm gonna help people do all that. But I just decided along the way that it's not my job to figure out who my content's for. It'll get to the right people eventually.
That's how I felt when I just started making content. I was just like, whoever's gonna listen, that's it. Whoever's listening, that's it. You can't force people to do it anymore because they had maximum exposure during the pandemic of what is going on, what is happening, and everything, and people still choose not to listen. So that's really on them at this point. And a lot of people are scared to get in cryptocurrency because they think you have to be very rich to get into it, where you only can spend as little as $5 and get a piece. It's called fractionalized. So people that's listening, if you even have $5 or $10, you can still get into cryptocurrency.
Even as low as $1 on some places.
Yeah, for
Hey,
sure.
what was your song play? What was that song played called, bro?
Oh, decentralized.
Decentralized.
Yeah,
Man, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like I listened to that. Uh, I listened to it, and it was like, you know how some people are like, oh yeah, my homie he raps.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But like no, like I listened to it, and I'm like, okay, this is hard. So I'm gonna play this for a little bit.
All right.
Woo! Man, I don't want to play too much. I just want to give the people a little sample, but definitely check out his music because he's a real deal artist. And I heard that and I was like, wow, man, this is good. You had
I'm,
some
s- I'm
the melody in there and the tempo, all of it was good, man. So you got some real stuff for sure.
Thank you.
So yeah, I don't know why it just popped into my head. I'm like, the people need to hear this.
The tape is when I was explaining to you, basically the idea behind the tape is it's like the changing of how this technology, how I saw it take over the streets, the street life. When people don't understand when it comes to this whole thing of being America, every great empire was built on crime. That's just how I go. Every great company, every corporation, everything is built on crime. So
Mm,
now we're coming from the lifestyle I used to be in. I seen it evolve to where these kids they was selling drugs, playing with guns, weapons, and stuff like that, and being drug dealers and stuff. Now it's evolution. So now what we're seeing these kids using a cell phone, a USB, a USB, and swiping cards and hacking ATMs, getting $40,000 in one shot in 5 minutes, and kids using flippers to break into buildings and hacking through these key codes that's supposed to protect these buildings because everybody think, oh, we got this new technology. I'm like, well, eventually these criminals are going to get smart enough to where they can go and hack this. Like they can duplicate a card just by taking the Bluetooth signal. Like we're seeing everything is just evolving fast, and that's basically what the tape is going to be about. It's about how I've seen it change from a street point of view of how I've seen these kids get smarter and craftier, and the fact that they have access to these computers and just doing this stuff with cell phones. Like when self-driving cars come out, we're probably going to see these kids use a cell phone to make your car drive to their house, and then
Man.
take it off the GPS. We're going to see things. We're going to see the evolution of this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, just like the duality of it. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
a huge fan of, a huge proponent of duality. With every good, there's a bad, and with every bad, there's a good. So I definitely think there's gonna be a wave of really dark stuff, but there's also going to be a lot of light that's brought in as well. And I'm pretty excited for that part. I think it's definitely going to be interesting, and people definitely need to be aware. They're going to get, you
because
don't want to be these.
it's gonna be mind blowing. Like one thing that was mind blowing that was like, okay, this is a new wave of technology and crime was the FTX situation of where the money went missing, and then a certain protocol was used where all the money was sent to 30,000 wallets. It was broken up into 30,000 wallets. I'm like, what? Instantly
Bro,
at that.
you want to
Who's
talk
gonna
about
find?
like every single. I mean we might be getting a little spicy here, but
Yeah,
you want to talk about every single country was built on the backs of crime,
yeah,
bro. Like I legitimately think that everything that is going on right now,
yeah.
as far as with the politicians, with certain politician's son that shall not be named or we might get booted. As far as like with Russia and Ukraine, like all and FTX, like I literally think all of it is connected. All
Yeah,
of it is
it
connected.
actually a story came out where all of those aids that they were sending out.
Man, it's crazy because we sent Ukraine, we sent Ukraine, what was it, 80 something $billion over the last year, right? And the crazy part is they were using crypto, if you remember correctly. Well, which company were they using? Oh, that's right, they were using FTX. And where did the politicians get the money from? Oh, that's right. FTX donated more money to the politicians than any company by a wide margin. Then it all
We are
came
watching one of the biggest money cleaning schemes in history in our faces. They always
right.
say if you follow the money, you will find the truth. And I'm like, these people can't see this. They can't see this.
Right. They're literally cleaning money. They're literally washing money right in front of our faces.
Yes,
And not only that, not only right in front of our faces, but like having people celebrate it too. Like that's the
that's the
crazy
crazy
part.
part. Yeah,
Like people are
yeah, they
happy
ain't
about it.
helping them, bro. They are not getting any of whatsoever.
Uh
Like I don't.
like you
They're
think
helping
this
them.
war you think this war is about freedom? Okay.
It's all over money. Every single one is over money. So it's just
That's
like,
right.
what makes this any different? And I think that's the battle people can't see. Everybody's worried about the physical war, the little firefights or whatever, a missile drop here or there. If that's even happening, because people are only going off of what they're being told. Video,
Right.
they stopped showing video a long time ago. So we're
It's the
seeing when we saw the ruple, was the ruple, rupee, whatever it's called. We see when it crashed when it first started, and when I tell you when it crashed when it first started, I said one thing I know about these politicians, they understand that they're running a corporation and not a country. So I'm like, once I saw that drop down, I'm like, okay, this may be a little shameful, as it would say, but I'm trying to find where I get this ruple. Where can I get these rupees at? Because it's a fraction of a penny right now. Where can I get this? Within a week later, he went and backed. He went and took all his gold out of every bank that he had it in the world and backed his currency by, and it shot right back up. That would have made whoever invested into it millions.
And they've been stacking
All the
gold
money war.
forever. They were stacking gold forever. And the
He was
crazy
ready
thing
for
too.
this. He was ready for this situation.
Oh yeah, the crazy thing too, and I don't really talk about this a lot, but it just feels like the right thing to talk about. But so I was in the military, and I don't really talk about it too much because I really don't even want to be associated with it, if I'm being honest. But
Mhm.
so I was in the Army, deployed 3 different times, and I joined the military because I believe in freedom. Truly, I believe in
Yes.
freedom. To my core, I believe in freedom. Like that is one of my
Yes.
core fundamental values. I believe in freedom. Man, once I got over there, I was like, we're fighting for something. I'm not so sure if it's freedom. And then the more I started learning about money, the more I started digging deeper and started learning about the Federal Reserve and how like almost every single war is connected back to the Federal Reserve. Even the Civil War is the crazy thing. Like it goes like I'm not so sure that the Revolutionary War wasn't linked to the Federal Reserve, but I know for sure that the Civil War was linked to the Federal Reserve, and every single war beyond that. And once you figure that part out, it's like it's all about currency. That's it. That's all that it's ever been about. And that's what this war is about. It's all whoever has the currency, the world currency, they are in control of the world, and that's that. So like I used to think that we fought wars for freedom, and then I'm like, okay, maybe it's oil that we fight wars for. And it's like, no, it's not even that. It's to ensure that the oil is purchased via US dollar. That's why we fight wars. AKA we fight wars to back our currency. And that's not something that I want to be a part of.
And I always wonder, what did people in the military think about it once they found out the truth? Like, man, what the fuck? They sent us over here for for this? Like, what was your initial reaction when it all came together?
It wasn't good. And I wasn't in the norm. I'm like I would say I was like I'm not like we're into crypto. Like that's just how it is for us in regular society. Being into crypto is how it was for me in the military, figuring out what this really was. I'll just say it like that. That's how it was. Okay, it's like okay, and so,
Man.
and once you figure out that, I mean, you want to talk about, man, it gets dark.
It gets dark. It gets deep. It gets, man. I had my bro. He did I think 3 tours. I think he might be a Sergeant Kenny Adams. What's up if you're watching? Because I know you watch me a lot. And he was telling me about some of the things when they start having their realizations and how basically the same connection you were making, and it was like what? Like this is bananas. So it's all about the U.S. petrodollar, and that's what's happening right now. If we're watching countries right now actively trying to destabilize the U.S. petrodollar, and I think I would say this year, if not, it already happened. I think they have already destabilized the U.S. petrodollar. Like I think they have already destabilized, and that's what this is all about. It's like I don't think they can even afford to even send troops over for a ground war at this point. I don't think they can. I don't think they can even do that. So I think it's just they're losing that battle.
I made a video a while back talking about how the U.S. government is insolvent, and I went on the debt counter, and I showed my math. Like, this is how much money we made. This is how much debt we have. 31 trillion, right? That's
There's
the
no way.
yeah. We made like 4.5 billion. We have 31 trillion in debt, but that's not even the real debt, because if you look there at the bottom in the corner, it tells you like the debt that has already been promised but has not been funded. And that's the real debt, because we're already promised this stuff out, but we don't have funding for it yet. And it's like, so I just showed like, if you have this, if I work at McDonald's and I make $7 an hour and I have $170,000 in debt and my payments are more than I make, that means I'm insolvent. That's what's going on right now with the government. They're literally insolvent.
It's over. The government didn't have power since the pandemic. Like, where really corporations is running the show at this point. Like,
Oh, it's been that way. Yeah. Like, that's why I said at the beginning, I said we really don't have free market capitalism. We have
that's the what.
we have fascism. That's what I
Yeah.
said at the beginning. We have fascism where the companies own the government. And this is what I said. I've made a lot of videos on this too, is like, people think that the government, if we're playing chess, right? If we're playing chess, people think that the government's the king, but they're not. They're the queen. The banks are
Yeah.
the king.
Yep.
The banks are the king. And how I think it all plays into XRP, and I think this is probably going to probably take another 5, 6, 7 years to play out. But for XRP to do what I think it's going to do, there has to be an event or something where the US dollar is like, and it's going to be the haves or the have nots, in my opinion. So that's sort of how I view. I don't know if you've ever heard of me talking about like the Shemitahs and the 7-year cycles, and I don't know if you're familiar with all of that, but I can go pretty deep
Can you
on it.
explain it? Yeah. I want to hear. I want a brief description what it is.
Okay, so basically, a Shemitah in Hebrew, and I'm not telling my audience or you or anybody what to believe, but what I'm saying is the powers that be on this realm in the financial sector, they believe it. So therefore, on this realm, it is real. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But in the Hebrew calendar, just like we have the Sabbath, which is the seventh day, the day of rest,
Yep.
right? The seventh year is called a Shemitah. And basically every 7 years, and I can break this down for you pretty deep, but every 7 years, some crazy stuff happens in the financial markets, because it used to relate to farming, but now it relates to the financial sector. So like, okay, 2001, the dot-com bubble busted, 9/11, that was a Shemitah. 2008, the real estate market crash and the whole entire world economy crash. That was a Shemitah. 2015, the Chinese stock market crashed. We didn't really feel it here, but I promise you, they felt it in Asia. 2000, and then we just got out of a Shemitah, and on the eclipse of November, FTX collapsed, and I was able to predict this. I have video evidence documented in January of 2021. I said I have my eyeball, and I was saying, because of the 7-year cycle, I said I have my eyes on the October eclipse and the November eclipse. I said one of these days is going to be the bottom, and there's going to be a crazy event. I have video evidence. It's still on my YouTube channel right now. And it was literally on the day, November 8th, was the eclipse. And then what happened? FTX collapse. And it goes even deeper too, because this is the 7th 7, and they call that a Jubilee. And after the Jubilee, it's even crazier. So the last Jubilee we had, Richard Nixon took the US dollar off the gold standard in 1971. So I'm telling you, like,
it makes sense. It does. It makes sense. Like, it's not nothing where it's not nothing where people will say, "Oh, this is crazy." But I'm like, yo, everything works in cycles. Everything works in cycles.
Right. That's right. It's all numbers. Like, we're in the matrix, bro. That's what I always say.
It's all matrix. If you can do math, you can predict anything. All of this is just straight codes. It literally is zeros and ones. When I started doing cybersecurity, And the things they were teaching us, I was like, well, it just kept proving more and more of how much we're in the matrix and simulation. Like, I'm like, okay, if I can't teach some of this stuff that's coming from what I'm learning in school, because people be like, man, what is he okay? But when you do the mathematics behind it, and then when you do the computing and you do the computing power behind everything, it makes sense. Like they said the perfect math equation, you know what it equals?
What?
A particle.
Hmm.
The perfect math equation equals a particle. I said, all right, I'm
Was
done. I'm done. I don't want to like
wow.
it's man.
That's
It gets very deep.
it's funny too because that's my YouTube intro. I say, "Welcome back to the Matrix. You're not just in the Matrix. You are the Matrix." How's it feel, Neo?
That's what it is. And once you start operating outside of it and you see what's going on, you can see it becomes predictable. You can see what's coming. You can see
Right.
everything that's we can see. Okay, now we have these little earthquakes coming, these UFO sightings and all that stuff. Between now and March, something catastrophic is going to happen. No, don't believe me, guys. All right, don't believe me, but I'm saying at some point, if Swift is announcing that, hold on, we having some recording issues real quick.
So my working theory on the market, uh, particularly, is I think we're gonna roll back over, back test the prior support, and then we're gonna go off and away into a relief rally, and we're gonna come up and touch the zero point 0.5 Fibonacci, which for Bitcoin would be about 38,000 or 40,000, and
Yeah,
people are gonna think that the bull market's back on. And I'm like, listen, guys, just because the bottom is in, and I think that the bottom has been in since November, and on Ethereum the bottom's been in since June. It's been over 8 months. We haven't even touched it. I'm like, just because the bottom is in doesn't mean the bull market is back. And then after that 0.5, we're gonna roll right back over to 25,000 or whatever it is, maybe even lower, back to 17 or whatever, before then going off and away into the next bull market. So that's my kind of
but
thesis on the market.
when it comes to the market, I think they're going to end up breaking this cycle due to the need of them wanting to change the system, because that's that people don't account for is system change shifting over
Yeah, and
to
I
the
think
whole
that too
digital.
many people also, yeah. So I'm open to that idea as well. Just because so many people are aware of the Bitcoin cycle, and the market trades in the most painful way possible. The most painful way possible. Whatever causes the most pain, that's the way that the market's going to trade. And there is a lot of people to like play devil's advocate to what I think, to your point. Um, a lot of people are aware of the 4 year cycle. And yeah, so
Yeah,
I sort
the
of have
cycle
a
ain't brick.
I sort of
Good.
have a if then approach to the market. Like I know I'm kind of known for my predictions.
Yeah.
Um, but I just use like Fibonacci's, and it's like at some point it's going to hit this, and this is where I would take profit. You know, that's sort of my message is to dollar cost average, take profit at these levels, take profit at these levels. But in reality, I have an if then approach to the market, which is like, if this happens, then I'll do this. If this happens, then I'll do this. And you have to kind of map that out in advance so you're ready for all the possibilities.
So do you factor in the Great Reset like that? If it's the Great Reset, then that could break all of the Fibonacci. That can break all the cycles. That can break everything if they factor in the Great Reset of happening. And that's where it's just like they just flip the whole game board over and start a new one. So
Mm,
that's I also take that into account too, because I'm like, okay, the chart says this, the cycle says this, Fibonacci says this. Okay, we know this, is coming, this whatever. Okay, we can predict that. But then it's like, the wild card is the Great Reset, where they're like, well, you know what, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna do all this, and we're gonna start all over, and this is what it is. So I also take that into account, because that can be a possibility to where they mess up all of the all the predictions, all the longs, all the shorts, everything.
Everybody gets
And
pain.
everybody gets it. And
Yeah.
I kind of think we're leaning more towards that. I kind of think we're
So
leaning more towards that off the strength of
so
the
this
money is
is
almost gone.
this is my working theory on
Yeah.
that one, what you were just saying, blending them together, right? And based on also what I was saying too with the 7-year cycles. And I think we're kind of in a 100-year loop. Okay. And
Yeah.
if I'm not saying that's true, but if it is true, based off of like other data points, right? Just like there's a 4-year cycle, that's not law, but there's other data points to show you that there's some merit to it, right? So 100
Yeah.
years ago in 1920, what happened? They had the Spanish flu, and then what happened in 2020? We don't got to say it, we know, right? Same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that,
Mm-hmm.
it was rocking and rolling, the roaring 20s, right? The roaring 20s up into 1928. And then that's when the Great Depression started. And it was not a financial, technological revolution. And I think that is what we're heading into. So we just had our Shemitah, and I think that the
Mm-hmm.
Great Reset is real, and I think we're going to be rocking and rolling. They're going to kick the can down the road one more time. They're going to turn the money printer back on one more time. It's going to be rocking and rolling. There's going to be dumb people making money. Everyone's going to be an expert, and the reason I say this is because Bitcoin trades with the stock market, and the stock market is at it's very close to a 4.236 extension. And I think the Q is when Congress actually bans themselves from owning stocks. That's it. Good night, Charlene. The bubble has busted and the Great Reset has initiated. And I think it's going to take the better part of the next 7 years to play out fully. But I think the next Shemitah is the Great Depression, in my opinion, because of the Great Reset.
Yeah. Because they already, what is it, like the Pelosi law that they're calling it or something like that?
Right. I think it's dead, but that's going to eventually get passed. Something there. It's not going to be the Pelosi because, that's like a Republican bill and the Democrats are in control of the Senate. So it's dead. It's much ado about nothing, but something like that is going to get passed eventually, in my opinion. So, but it's sitting at the Senate right now, and that's probably where it's going to go to die. But if it does get passed, good night, Charlene.
It's over. That's
Yeah. Hey,
they're
head for the
never gonna
hills.
stop their money whatsoever. They're never gonna stop their money whatsoever.
No, that's
Stock
it.
market over. It's reset all the way through and through right there. As soon as that gets passed, and that's gonna be the biggest indication for sure, 100% for sure. And everyone who does not want to comply to the new system that's gonna go on, they're gonna lose a lot of money. Everybody's gonna lose their money.
No, literally, because like I said, one ounce of silver equals 1 ounce of silver. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. But over the course of time, $1 does not equal $1, and that is like
Whatsoever.
it doesn't. It just doesn't. We've lost 96% of the purchasing power since 1971.
I said this in one of my videos, and people thought I was just. I'm like, the facts is there. You can
Right.
see the chart.
Like, I don't need to make it up. And that's what I say too, is like inflation is a tax on poor people. That's what that is. That's a tax on poor people. Because rich people, they get richer when inflation happens because their assets inflate.
Yep. And man, that's why they don't teach finance, and they don't teach it in regular basic school whatsoever. Because if everybody knew finance and how it worked, a lot of this stuff that's going on would not be happening whatsoever.
Right. It's
So
by
that
design.
by design whatsoever. Once I learned finance, I learned how to move. Once I learned how to, this is how you utilize credit. This is how you leverage debt. This is how the game is played. Don't use debit. Use credit. And you,
Right.
and you start playing the game totally different. And then you start seeing like, oh, okay, I see how this works.
Yeah, because they're playing two different games. We're playing two different games. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And people like, what do they teach? I don't know. Have you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Nah, but I've heard it a million times, but I kind of get
Man,
the concept of it.
man, you got to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's like how to think like a rich person 101, the most fundamental. It's a good book. But in there, he talks about like how poor people or his poor dad, he talks about how his poor dad was scared of debt and he said never use debt. And his rich dad used debt to buy assets to make him richer. And it's like once you understand that literally every single dollar is debt, like all dollars are created from debt because the Federal Reserve is loaning the government money and that's how they create US dollars. So why in the
It's literally
world?
a Federal Reserve debt note. You're literally trading in that debt for items. That's what the dollar is. You're trading in that debt. You're working. They owe you debt. Okay, here's this debt note, and this debt note you can trade it in for items.
Yeah, so why in the world would you be scared of debt? Now, what you should be scared of is using your debt for liabilities. You know, you need to be leveraging your debt for assets. But why in the world would you be scared of using debt for assets when literally money is created from debt? All of it, like not some of it, not part, all of debt, all of money is created from debt. I wish I had a US dollar on me right now. I would show it. It's so like it's
I
all
haven't had a
connected.
dollar in a long time. I don't even know where to even find one. I've been digital for a few years now. I haven't seen a dollar in a while.
Oh man, that's the thing too. Like having conversations with boomers about crypto. It's like, well, what about banks? I'm like, listen, Paul. When was the last time you walked into your bank? I can't remember the last time I went to my bank.
Yeah, everything's on the phone.
Everything.
Everything's on the phone.
So that's like, man, it's like it's already here. Just like we've been talking about, like AI, everything is already here in front of your face right now. You just are either not looking at it, you don't want to look at it, or you're just completely asleep. But it's already here, just like you said earlier.
It's like, the nation, we're a nation of baby minded people. So you have to spoon feed everybody. They can't just say, hey, guess what? Everything on the blockchain tomorrow. They can't do that. People lose their mind. You can't just wake up. Aliens is here. They gotta spoon feed everything. So it's gonna be, a few years for implementation where everybody gets used to it. And when people finally like, okay, we're ready. Hey, what's going on? Help save us. So help save the economy. Oh, we're gonna do blockchain technology and CBDCs to save everyone. Okay, then save us with it. And that's how it's gonna be implemented.
Mm.
People are gonna beg for CBDCs, and when this inflation gets so high and everything, people are gonna want it. Oh, this is
Right.
because they're not gonna know what it is.
Yeah, because what they're going to do is just like how, like that, this whole like pandemic thing was just like a test run as far as with the universal basic income. And that's how they're going to onboard you onto the CBDCs. They want to like
Mm-hmm.
spoon feed you to where you're relying on them. Don't do this or you're going to lose your universal basic income or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think that that's how they're going to onboard everybody onto CBDCs because they're like, oh, it's so bad. Everyone needs this much money. And we'll just keep printing you these imaginary fake tokens. And that's that.
Yeah, right now, this next, I'll say between now and 2025 is right now a free market. At this point, it's get as much money as you can at this point, and
Turn it
you
into
got another
assets.
2 years. Yeah,
Yeah. Not the money that you got to get the assets.
good
But
assets, really.
yeah. Yeah, not just crypto either cuz I know you're a proponent of silver and gold and I'm sure I don't know if you're a proponent of real estate, but for me, there you go. See, I got some too. Uh in my little case right here. Oh, it's right there. Look. Hold up. I got some right here too. But to me, it's an and world, not an or world. It's a and silver and Bitcoin and crypto and real estate and and whatever.
Yeah, the evolution of money is crazy at this point. This right now is the evolution of money, guys. This is what money is has turned into over the years. We went from this to now this. This is the evolution of money.
Mm, wow, that's what it is too. That's how I
It really
explain.
is. This
That's
is the new thing right
literally
here.
that's how I explain it to people. I'm like this. You have to understand cryptocurrency. You have to understand what money is and where it comes from, and most people really don't. Most people really don't understand what cryptocurrency is, where it comes from, and what it used to be was all of our money was gold, and that's what we transacted in. And eventually they created a note, which was a note for a little bit of silver or a little bit of gold. This paper dollar equals this much silver. This equals this. And we know this equals this because the government says it does. Well, in 1971, they took it off of that and they ditched the gold part and we just had the note part. And so where cryptocurrency was born was literally out of the degenerate gambling of 2008, of the financial crisis, was literally them just printing money, being degenerates, uh, preying on uh, preying on poor people and different things like that. And the distrust in the financial system is where cryptocurrency was born. Out of 2008 was where Bitcoin was born, and that's what it is. It's the next evolution of money, just like you said.
Yes, for everyone that want to get into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, the beginning of almost every documentary that you will watch on it will be exactly what he just said, how everything was born out of the spending of 2008 and the evolution of money. And the first thing they make you understand out of every documentary is they tell you exactly the root of money, how it started, and what it is. Because you have to understand exactly what money is in order to understand what this is. And people think, oh, money spending. Money is not what you think it is. Money, once you understand money, you have your aha moment, your eureka moment where you're like, oh, and then you start noticing how things in the world work around you once you understand how money operates and what it does.
Yeah, and I find it interesting too. I don't know what your take is on this, but just something that I've noticed kind of socially in the past few years. It seems like right, wrong, or indifferent. It seems like the common bad guy, the mainstream bad guy of the mainstream media, is someone right, wrong, or indifferent, but the message core behind this person, this individual, he promotes self reliance, becoming stronger, not relying on the government, not relying on systems, relying on yourself, relying on hard work and discipline. And I just find that it seems like every single bad guy, there's a new flavor each and every week, each and every month of who the mainstream bad guy is. But to their core, that's what they all promote, and it's interesting that that's the common denominator to me.
Anybody that promotes you not being reliant on, as you would say, them, it's the bad guy. That's it. That's the bad guy. If you're teaching people to be self sufficient and to be their own person, then and you're telling them, hey, this is how this works. This is how you be your own person. Not a part of this group think that's going on. This group thinking mob mentality that's happening. You
Mm,
become dangerous. Being an individual in this group thinking mob mentality is dangerous,
right.
and that's where the witch hunt.
And I've talked about this too on my live streams. People ask me like, "Yo, Ski, what
Say money
they'll
will
say
get
like what color Lambo are you gonna get when XRP hits this and that? I'm like, bro, I'm not getting a Lambo. I'm buying land.
every swear.
Bro,
Swear.
I'm buying acres. I'm buying like acres, solar panels. I'm buying like a tractor and dirt.
Yes, a lake. They're selling lakes. There's actually a website called Lands of America, where they're selling literal cities like lakes and mountains and prairies in middle America. Nobody even inhabited. I don't know why people don't inhabit it. Middle America, where you can go buy a lake for $300,000. That's your water source. Build houses,
Mm.
solar panels, and mind your business.
Yeah,
Because
that's me.
it's gonna get crafty. I'm willing to do that. I think I am. I don't want to live in the city. I'm done with city living. It's over. I grew up in the country actually. Our city is actually a little country city where I'm from. So I'm
Man,
used to it.
I got I live in the suburbs right now, but I got chickens and I got a garden and all that. And they don't like that I have chickens because I was like sort of, had foresight on this whole egg thing, even though that's not why I did it. I just wanted the highest quality food that I was consuming possible. You know what I mean? But
Mhm. It's a common theme I've seen from a lot of people in the military. One of my friends, he went off grid. And I kind of noticed he was about to go off grid when I came over to his house and he had chickens and he was growing his food. He said, yeah, man, I'm just, and this was like 5-10 years ago at that. He was like, yeah, man, he said, yeah, I'm just getting ready. I said, getting ready for what? Yeah, he was just like, yeah, I got and he had his chickens. He had his chickens and stuff like that. I don't know where he's at right now. Last spot, he was like Illinois somewhere and went off grid. And he got his chickens, he got his farm, he got everything, and he's out the way. And that's how it's gonna be. Either you're gonna get your crypto money and go off grid, or you're gonna be people with the crypto money. You have no choice but to go off grid. Like the first Bitcoiners, now that story is becoming mythical now because a lot of the first Bitcoiners really got their money and just disappeared, went to different countries and just disappeared because they know how dangerous it is. And a lot of these billionaires that they were finding, popping up with these accidents and stuff like that, a lot of them were original Bitcoiners. And that story is going to be told in some type of docu-series or a movie with the original Bitcoiners of how they got their money and dipped in a lot of these people from Mount Gox and stuff like that from these. They got to do a movie on Mount Gox. I saw a docu-series on it, but they got to do a movie on what happened with Mount Gox because that's something that's
yeah,
very big in history that happened. Very big.
right. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, for me, it's like you either got to take your wealth and you either got to be so far off the grid that they can't touch you, or you got to be so far on the grid that you're on
Yeah.
every single grid and you can't you can't be
And they
messed
can't
with.
touch you still. Like it gotta
Right.
be it's no playing in the middle. Like you're gonna have to be fully involved
You got to have
using
27
your
passports or 27 acres, one or the other.
one or the other and be able to move and have a lot of friends that you lobbied. It's gonna
Right.
be yeah. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be a show. It's definitely gonna be a show to see in the next few years for the people that have understanding and what's going on. So,
So when moon, bro.
oh, I think it's gonna be a few moons actually that's gonna happen.
Yeah. I
Whatever the ISO, that moon, Tron's gonna have a moon, y'all.
mm,
Tell you guys, Tron is gonna have a moon. What a lot of people don't know what's going on with Tron and Justin Sun is he is the first and only outside of Satoshi. He's the first and only CEO of his currency that actually stepped down and let it be decentralized. He stepped down. Now he's a ambassador for Tron.
mm.
So he's not the CEO no more. I remember the day that he stepped down. He made it fully. He's the only CEO of his cryptocurrency that stepped down and let it run fully decentralized. And he's being the ambassador. So what he's doing, this is from his own Twitter that he tweeted that now he's living in is it Hong Kong or Shanghai? He's living in one of those areas now where he's going to start making all of these Asian countries like Vietnam and like Laos, Philippines, like all the smaller ones, they're all going to adopt Tron as the native currency.
Mm.
And he said this out of his own mouth. Like he said this out of his own tweets, as you would say. By the end of the year, he will have 5 countries where it will be their legal tender. So
Wow.
Tron is going to have them. They're going to have their moon date, and yeah, not if not financial advice, but Tron is going to have a moon date. V Chain is going to have a moon date too very soon to fix the supply chain issue.
Supply
That's
chain.
what
Yeah.
supply chain issue. Obviously, everybody knows that is the biggest thing that's going on. V Chain solves that. If you don't understand that V Chain is going to be very big, I mean, you already see them as the official sponsor of the UFC already. Just silently crept in. It's official sponsor of UFC. So they're going to be big for the supply issue. They're going to be for the people that don't understand what it's going to be. Um, the UPC codes, the barcodes that are on the side of items. You're going to have one for VeChain where you're going to be able to scan it and it's going to say, hey, this was made in so and so factory by so and so at this time, and this is an authentic item, whatever, and it's on the blockchain. That's what VeChain is going to be. So that's going to be for almost every. Think about that. That's going to be tokenized for almost every item that comes out. So that automatically makes it deflationary because I mean, as long as you can keep producing, you're going to keep having individual UPC or QR codes or VeChain QR codes on billions of items coming out yearly. So that's going to just keep rising and rising and rising and rising and rising and rising and rising, and it's going to burn itself because it has a burn mechanism in it. So VeChain is definitely going to have a moon date within the next 3 years for sure.
Man, it's it's kind of crazy to me too. Just like trying to convince normal people, which I quit doing, by the way. Like I think it's
I
not
stopped.
healthy. It's
I stopped.
it's not worth your energy. You got to protect your energy, especially in the upcoming times. Like they're going to see just by your actions and by the way that you move that something's different. But I find it very interesting that you go on YouTube or whatever and you'll see Kim Kardashian. She posted a dumb video of her putting on makeup or whatever and got 7 million views. Meanwhile, the meeting in Davos is live for everyone to see and it's got like 3,000 views.
Yeah, I'm like, but that lets you know where like in cryptocurrency. I know you've seen this a million times. Oh, do you think these guys are gonna make you rich? You think they're gonna let you guys get rich? You know how they say that like about like the ISO coins. They're really
Right.
like they're like, oh, you think these people are gonna let you be rich? I'm like, there's not that many people in this crypto space whatsoever.
Right.
There's not. There's really not. You gotta think about they predict 100 million, but you gotta think about how many people have multiple wallets. I got 10 wallets my damn self. So I know like there's other people that probably have 20, 30, 40 different. So to them, it may appear that there's a lot of more people, but it's not that many people. And even still, let's say if there's 250 million people that's in cryptocurrency, let's say that's nothing.
Right. Like out of those 250 million too, how many are like actually going to hold the bag and be securing at the right time and dollar cost averaging and not getting shooken out by not getting shooken out by whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like when this crash had just happened, you I would probably say at least a good 25% of people left crypto after that. They're like, oh,
Um,
FTX is down, it's over. It's over. We're out of here. FTX went down. Oh, it's over. You know how many people that shook out?
Oh my god, dude! Like crazy. Like I say this all the time. This is my cue to people too. Where I like if they're asking me about crypto, I'm like, listen, outside of me, because I'm crazy. Outside of me, how many people are talking about crypto right now?
It's
None.
really nobody.
Zero.
We can name all the people.
Yeah, like they're all my friends, and that's it. All the people that I'm linked up, but like no regular person is talking about crypto right now, and that's how to me in my head, it's like I know data facts that retail buys the top, sells the bottom over and over and over again for the last 100 years. So when things get boring and sideways, that's my cue to get excited as all fiat. And when things get parabolic and you see Coinbase #1 in the App Store, that's when your cue, like, hey, you go to the gas station, people are talking about crypto. You go to the grocery store and the cashier's like, hey, have you heard about Elon Nutsack coin? It's like, well, you better start selling, bro.
Facts. It's a wild game. It's definitely a wild game. And like, what point am I trying to make? Like when it comes to this thing of, by the time I think the public will get crypto, it'll be an underneath layer. They won't even know. It'll be like how Bitcoin is on Cash App. It'll be, they'll get it as an underneath layer, because remember, we're dealing with layer ones to where we know the names. We know the names of these tokens and cryptocurrencies and stuff. That's the layer one. That's the top layer. By the time they get it, they're gonna get it layer 3, layer 4, where it's gonna be under their banking app, where it's gonna be what powers their banking app. So it's gonna be so and so bank powered by Polygon. And nobody pays attention to that little thing that says powered by. Nobody pays attention to that. So by the time the general public get it, they'll get it by that.
My bad. my camera resets every 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Polygon, but yeah, that's how it's going to be. Just like you said, they're going to get the backwash, if you will. There's the sloppy.
Yeah, they're gonna get the powered by so and so and all that. By the time they even get it, so they're not even. It's gonna be like how the stock market is. The average people don't know how to get access to the stock market whatsoever. Robinhood made it so people can get it. People didn't know how to get TD Ameritrade accounts and stuff like that. Yeah, that people don't know. People still to this day don't know how to get anything. They don't know that they can go get the same stuff that's invested in their 401k. They don't know they can just go get that on the Robinhood app. They don't understand that whatsoever. So they're like, oh, my 401k, but I gotta wait to get out, get my money, or something happen with their job or something. They seize their 401k. We're like, well, you could have got those same ETFs on your phone. Right. You could have had it on your phone. You don't have to. A lot of people don't understand that you can have control of that, but that.
And not only that, but they're hosing you on those fees for them just buying the same one that you could buy. And it's like, man, when people say that to me, and it's like, I know like the older generation, it's a taboo thing to talk about money, but it's like me, like I'm trying to learn, bro. Like I need to learn what you got, and I'm going to tell you what I got, and let's learn and grow together. But man, it's like, when people just say, like, they say this thing, it's like, oh, I got a finance guy and I'll let him handle that. It's like, oh my God, bro. Like, do you know, he doesn't really know either, right?
Oh yeah, he is handling it.
He's handling it. He's handling it all right. And guess what? When the market when the market crashes, he's still going to get paid and you're going to lose your money. That's how that goes. It's like personal finance is personal. You need to learn the game. If you can't take, 50 hours and just dive into what in the world you're investing into, like, come on, bro, it's not for you then. Just take your CBDC then.
Take it at that point. Most people are. So I was explaining to a friend a few days ago when they don't understand the control, like how they say you're having control of your own banking, right? I was on my ledger. I was transferring a few tokens and stuff like that, and I'm doing it on my computer, and I had like a epiphany moment when I was looking at it. I said, oh, like when you actually go into the bank and they go onto the computer and look at the databases and stuff like that. I'm like, when they say we have control of our own banking, they just gave us what they're on the computer doing. Now we have access to that ourselves. And I'm looking at the when you're looking at the blockchain and transaction history and you're looking at everything, you can see how much money other people have and you can see all this stuff. I'm like, well, if you don't understand blockchain technology, you don't understand this type of stuff, it's going to look intimidating. So people choose not to use it. But
Mm.
now we have access to those programs that those banks have. So we're going to be able to look at the same screen when you go to your bank, which is going to be powered by Ethereum. Let's say you go to Bank of America, powered by Ethereum or whatever, and
XRP.
they're all yeah, powered by Ripple. So
Yeah.
to them, so when you go into the bank and they're just looking up your money and all that stuff, they're looking at the blockchain and all that stuff and seeing how much money you have and literally clicking and sending your money, doing exactly what you could have did on your phone or what you could have just did on your computer. So I'm like, okay, this is how this changed. We just have access to the same thing that they have access to. All they're doing is looking at the same thing we're looking at. We're looking at.
It, it's even deeper than that, in my opinion. It's not we have access. It's like no. You are the bank.
Yeah,
You
you
move.
are.
You are the bank. You are the bank. And then when I'm interacting, and that's what I tell people, they're like, how do you get these crazy yields? Like I use Saucer Swap all the time, and I do liquidity mining and I do staking and all this and that. And it's like I'm earning passive income the same way that the banks earn passive income because all money is created by debt. So that's all I'm doing. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, there's risk, but everything's a risk. Life's a risk. It's a risk to drive to work tomorrow. Everything's a risk.
I'd rather risk some money than my life.
Yeah,
Rather
me
risk
too.
that. And it's like, well, okay, now we got a click of a button to just do it. We have the same exact thing that they're doing. Now we can lend out just the same way how the banks lend out your money. They don't lend out their money. How the banks lend out your money. You
10
can lend out
times.
your own money. Yeah, you can lend out your own money 10 times and do the same thing.
Mm,
And do the same
yeah,
thing. I'm like, people don't get it.
maybe maybe it is intimidating, right? What in the world? Maybe it is intimidating, but at the end of the day, it's like it's worth diving into. It's worth learning.
It is. Once you learn money, the world gets so simple, and you wonder why. Like the things that you wonder why this happens, you understand why it happened, and you always learn like how they say money is the root of all evil. You kind of learn that okay, money is the root of why this just happened or why this is going on, and you people understand money. Please learn money. That's all I can say. Learn money. Once you learn money, you're gonna learn how this world operates immediately.
You follow the money, you figure out the truth really quick. And it's like you don't have to worry about being programmed or whatever the propaganda is almost always wrong. Whatever the propaganda is, like throughout history and today, from the last 100 years, 200 years, 300 years to today, propaganda is almost always wrong. It's almost always not the right thing. Uh, but you don't need to worry about propaganda if you just follow the money because there's the truth.
Facts. Facts.
It's as simple as that, you know.
You-
And that's
You'll
why I
find
think that this is what if you want to link that to in my like esoteric view on Ripple and the SEC case, that's what I really think it is. It's like all they're doing is just delaying this as long as they possibly can, and they're doing it by design so that it gives them an opportunity to catch up, um, and to implement something to where that they're not going to be totally hosed. But it's like people say things like, "Oh, the government, they'll just make their own technology." I'm like, listen,
they got
as someone
hijacked
who
already. The nerds,
as someone
the nerds hijacked them already.
as someone who works for the government, I can assure you they're not good at innovating, and they're not good at you know they're not good at uh developing technology. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
they run all these old people are ran by the nerds, as they would say. The nerds, revenge of the nerds happened, y'all. Revenge of the nerds happened. The nerds run this right now, and they There's nothing these people can do whatsoever. So they're just drawing it out. They're basically at the mercy of this technology where they're telling them, "Hey, man, y'all got this many years to get it together before we go over here and flip these switches and we gonna convert it over to this imaginary nerd money, as y'all would say."
Right. Imaginary internet money, which is like, what do you think the US dollar is, bro? When was the last time you paid someone in cash? Magic internet. It already is magic internet
yeah,
money.
yeah. Like I can't even remember. Like the last time I seen money, I just remember the distinct smell that it had. It had like a stench to it. I'm like, damn, I haven't seen money in so long that it stink. I'm like, this what's going on? Like everything just digital. Everything.
All right, Oba,
It's
I'm gonna ask you this one more question. We've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes, but if you had all the money in the world, what would you be doing?
somewhere tropical. Minding my business. And I think I would get into yachts for some reason. I don't know. I think I would get into a yacht and mind my business and sail off the coast.
But
That's really it.
what would you be working on? Because like we, as I believe, anyways,
Oh,
that at
I
some
can tell
point
you what
you
I can tell you what I'm working on now. That
uh
that's gonna tie into this. Hold on.
all right.
This is actually my alkaline water company, Oba
Okay.
Water. So definitely clean. We have a filter that is actually patent pending, where we could take almost something which is called gray water, which is almost the worst type of water, and make it alkaline.
Wow.
We know the reason. We know very, very, very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous playing the resource game. But we went and got all our proper legal work, and it took a lot of money, a lot of crypto money. That's why I really put a lot of my crypto money into was to invest in this because water being a natural resource and you can get it from anywhere. But they always say, we got to get freshwater springs. We didn't cut all of that out. And my friend, can't say his name, but he's actually one of the scientists that's on this project, develop a filter where we could take the dirtiest water and turn it into alkaline water, which is 9.5 pH, which is living water, which is water. The water that people drink now is dead water. Like,
Dead. And you are what
and,
you eat. And you are
yeah,
what you drink.
and you find yourself even more thirsty, losing hair and skin terrible. And that's all I drink is my own water for me to be in my 30s and a lot of people around me my same age, losing their hair. And for me to actually grow my hair, I just started growing my hair last year. Before they keep going, I drink my own water from my own filters that we invented, and now we turned it into a company that hopefully can help millions of people.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. So where can the
And
people
we're gonna
find you?
you can find me on TikTok, Oba the Great Barbarian. You can find me on YouTube, Oba the King of Nothing, uh, IG, Oba the Great, and Twitter, Oba the Great One.
My man. Oba.
Anything else? Oh, my music too.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Oba the
play
Great,
that on the outro if that's okay with you. I'm gonna play that when I
of
kinda
course.
I'm gonna play that, let the people get a little taste of that. And then but I really enjoyed chopping it up with you. And I can't wait to do this again sometime. But I think that is going to be it for this time. I'm going to play Oba's. I'm going to play his music on the way out. But that's it for this time, y'all. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. God bless. Check out his music. He's got some really good stuff, y'all. Really good dude. Make sure you guys follow him on TikTok Instagram, on YouTube. I'm going to have all this stuff. But y'all, I'm going to leave all his links in the description. I'm going to update the thumbnail and all that. I'm going to tag his YouTube on the channel, his TikTok, all of that. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. God bless. I'm out.